Powell scores with 35 points to go along with 17 rebounds. And Russell Westbrook had his best game as a Laker with 33 points, 10 rebounds, and 8 assists. We're now joined by First Things First co-host Chris Broussard. So, Chris, was this the Russ you wanted to see?
Yeah. When LeBron's not playing, I'll take that, Russ, when LeBron's not playing.
Thank you.
You know, and that's one of the benefits. Look, you got Russell Westbrook to win a championship. But one of the fringe benefits is that when LeBron's out, whether it's for injury or he's just out resting during the course of a game that he's actually playing in, you don't have to be bad. And that's been the problem for the Lakers since LeBron's been there. The previous 3 years, they're 23-35 without LeBron. Now, they're still a pretty good team without LeBron now. And so they should be able, that should help them in the standings. It enables LeBron to get a little more rest. We know he wants to play, so I don't think he's going to be low managing. But when he needs a break, he can get it. And even during games, he can go out and not worry about them losing the lead every single time he goes to the bench. So that's a benefit. The problem, of course, is that LeBron's going to be playing. And I don't mean problem like, oh, they're better without him. No, they can't win a championship without LeBron. So they've got to figure out how the three of these stars can play together. And what I saw last night was that, as we've been saying, Anthony Davis needs to be at center. Because last night you had AD, Russ, Malik Monk, Kent Bazemore, and the lane was open. So AD lived at the rim. Russ, you saw Russ scored just about all of his points. I think he hit 1 3, but he scored basically all his points at the basket. So I actually think that their best lineup, their starting lineup, should be LeBron, Russ, AD, Malik Monk, and Kent Bazemore. You got a little bit of youth there. You got shooting. Malik Monk has turned himself into a very good three-point shooter. Yep. Couldn't shoot when he entered the league. Now he's 40% plus the last 2 years from three. He's young. He can focus on defending and hitting the three. Same thing with Bazemore. And the lane will be open for AD, LeBron, and most importantly, Russ to get to the rim and do what he does best. Because you even saw last night, he still can't shoot it all. So I think they may have uncovered something, and that's what they'll do. But, yeah, that was great for Russ. But you can't – he's not going to be able to do that consistently with LeBron, nor should you want him to, because that would mean LeBron's game is being diminished, and that's not good for the Lakers.
Thank you. That's what I said. Yes, I love seeing this side of Russ. But, Chris, we've seen Russ do this with one other superstar on the court. He did this for what? A decade with Kevin Durant. We saw what he did when he went to Houston with James Harden. We saw him in Washington average a triple-double with Bradley Beal. So we know what Russ can do with another superstar. The question is, and still remains, what can he do with two superstars on the court? And you're right. On a night when LeBron is out, this is what you want to see from Russ. If AD's out, this is what you want to see from Russ. If Russ is out, I expect LeBron and AD, because they've been there, they've played together, to put up huge numbers and to help the Lakers win. Yes, I love seeing this side of Russ, but anybody that thinks Russ can have this kind of impact with LeBron James on the court are fooling themselves. AD and Russ had 58 shot attempts. So in the process of AD getting 31 shot attempts and Russ getting 27, what the hell do they expect LeBron to do? So what LeBron gonna be doing in all that time they doing all that?
Watching.
Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, you want to cause some conflict. The question is, and we've seen LeBron play a little different style because I believe he's more malleable than Russ. Russ has to play his style of basketball.
First time that word's ever been used on this show. I like it. Congratulations.
Russ has to play his style of basketball in order to be successful. He was sensational last night, Skip. I won't. And the effort, that play that he knocked out of his hand, like he knocked the ball out and he stole it, went down and threw the lob to DJ. Ain't nobody ever making that play. So on a night like last night, a Tuesday night in San Antonio, no disrespect to those other guys that they traded to get Russ, but they're not winning that game last night with Kuz, with Harrell, even though they're playing with energy and Schroeder, they're not winning that game last night. Russell Westbrook, his 33, 10, and 8 was a reason along with AD. And this is why you got him. But I still want to see them play for an extended period of time, all three of these guys.
My turn. Last night, in my humble estimation, was the single worst thing that could have happened for LeBron James. He had to stand there at courtside in his gray hat and his gray sweater and his gray shorts.
Yeah.
Kind of an odd combination, but I'll go with it.
Yeah.
Because it was a gray area for LeBron to have to stand there and watch the horror movie that unfolded. It was Westbrook's dream come true. All of a sudden, the team that he grew up living and dying for, he was the point guard. He could take over because last night it was his team because there was no LeBron James. No more king. And Russ felt like he was king for a night. And we got 1,000% hell-bent attack mode Russell Westbrook. Solo act, stat machine in all of his glory. And yet it got you a W in what turned into a Laker home away from home game. Laker Nation took over AT&T Arena in San Antonio. I've never heard anything like it before. You could hear it just through the TV. Every time Russell scored at the rim, the place went nuts. They lifted the roof off AT&T for Russell Westbrook. And he finally actually, if we could see this, he made a 3 last night, and it was actually a big shot in the fourth quarter. 5 minutes left. Tie game. If we could see Russ make a 3, it was a sight for sore eyes. Here we go. Monk kicks it, and Russ says, "Oh, you're daring me to shoot this? I swish it." Put them up 3, and I said, "Well, that's 1 of 4 for the night." He's still Westbrook to me, but then he goes in sheer attack mode, and in the fourth quarter and overtime, he makes 7 of 10 shots. He closed while LeBron watched, but now Russ got a taste of being a solo act. Do you think that's going to play well tonight if LeBron does play, and I believe he will with Russ? How did it help their chemistry together? I think it only damaged it because it was nothing but fool's gold in San Antonio.
Last night was a short-term solution. But the question is, with AD hurting that knee, is AD going to play tonight? Because they might be in a very similar situation, Skip, where you only have 2 of the 3 stars. And then he'll get an opportunity to star again. But for me, none of that matters. Because guess what? Come playoff time, you hoping you have all 3 of them. So that's the question. How soon, Chris, can all 3 of these guys figure out how to play together? That's it.
Last night got you nowhere.
No, it didn't. It didn't. I agree with you 1,000%.
And yet, if my Spurs, what's left of them, hadn't missed all 7 free throws in the fourth quarter, we're having a different conversation. If DeJounte Murray doesn't miss the last shot, it was a pretty good look, a pretty clean look from about 17 feet. We're having a different conversation.
That's what y'all do. We've seen you guys miss free throws before.
You allowed Jakob Poeltl to go 27 and 14 when he's a career 6 and 6 guy.
Is he in
How
the NBA?
did you do that?
Is he in the NBA?
Well, come on.
Okay.
Is that your excuse? He's in the NBA?
Skip, he can have. Is he going to average 27 and 14 for the season?
How did AD and Dwight and DJ, how did they allow that to happen? 27 and 4. That was his career night.
Yeah, and we got our rebounded again.
Yeah.
And we got our rebounded again,
He was dunking on. He was dunking on.
Yeah, he was dunking on both. He was dunking on them. He got them.
But see, that's why I said that lineup I mentioned, you're getting out rebounded when you go big. And we know nowadays, like, bigs have to get out and guard on the floor, right, on the perimeter. And there's so many more jump shots than there used to be that there's a lot of long rebounds. And so that's a big reason why the Lakers are getting out rebounded, because guards are getting rebounds and smaller players and things like that. So they might as well go small. Look, AD is a great rebounder. Russ is a great rebounder. LeBron is a very good rebounder. That's enough.
Yeah.
If those 3 out there, you can put 2 smaller guys that can shoot on the floor with them, and you'll be better defensively and you'll be fine on the rebounding end. So, look, I will say this, Skip, about Russ. Yeah, last night, I mean, he got a taste of it, right? He got a taste of being Magic or Kobe or whatever Laker hero he had growing up. But I do think Russ has shown that he will defer. Like, when he went to Houston, he wasn't trying to take over Harden's team. when he went to Washington, he didn't try to take over Bradley Beal's team. And since he's been here, he hasn't tried to take over except for last night when they needed him to. The problem to me with Russ being like a third star or even a second star is not that he's not willing to do it mentally or in his mental makeup. It's that his game may not be built for that. Like, can he excel without having the ball in his hands, without being able to do whatever he wants to do? That's the question. It's not the mental makeup of, is he willing to defer to LeBron and AD? I think he is.
Okay, last quick point. Remember, Russ didn't grow up in Houston. He didn't grow up in D.C. He grew up in L.A. This is it for him. And once you give him a taste, he's going to want more of running his team in his town. Yeah, here we go.
Okay, all right, Chris. Appreciate you weighing in on this one. It's only going to get more interesting from here on out. Oh, and you know who else weighed in on something recently? Jerry Jones. He had a lot to say about Tom Brady's 600th touchdown ball negotiations.
Here we go.
He knows the things about negotiating.
He can't help himself. Trust me, you want to hear it next.